Hey, peace world. Thanks for pressing play on another Pay Me No Mind sports and entertainment video. There were some things that I wanted to get to this morning when I was driving into work. Now I'm headed back home to finish up the second half of my day. Um, there's also really, like I said, talk some bite down boxing updates. There's a Stephen Fulton, and WBO super featherweight champion Angelo Leo. There's getting ready to be a Zoom conference, and I'm pretty sure it should be on Showtime Sports or Showtime Boxing's YouTube channel. So check that out if you care about that fight. Like I said, I think that's going to be a pretty good event. But now, what I wanted to get into was one thing before I start talking about Jamel Herring and Shakur Stevenson. Just my understanding or my constant being kind of confused with what's going on in boxing talk, and what the complaining and the bitching and the grumbling is, the gripes are, trying to make sense of it at all times. I'm just confused, like how much energy we're really putting into this situation at lightweight, 135 pounds, with all of the with the four young guys there, with Teofimo Lopez, the undisputed champion per Mauricio Suleiman, as well as WBC champion Devin Haney, and then WBC interim champion Ryan Garcia, and then WBA regular title holder at 135 and 130, I believe, in Gervonta Davis. But the constant buzz with everything that these four individuals are doing, we've heard a little less from, or a lot less, from Gervonta Davis. He's not much of a speaker, not all that vocal anyway. But he is in camp right now down in Florida with Broner and Robert Easter Jr. So that's a good sign. That's a pretty good sign that he's trying to stay ready for whatever opportunities might come up for him this year. And then we heard, but anyway, I'm confused at how everybody is so willing to take the word of these young guys who are all below. Well, Davis might be the oldest at 25? Davis 24, 25. But talks of contracts being sent, and I'm gonna offer him this fight, or I'm gonna do this. You have Ryan Garcia telling people, or telling media to tell Devin Haney to go fight Teofimo Lopez. Like, these dudes are not that autonomous in their careers. They're just not. So to click on all of these videos and to hang out in these lives with somebody, all up in arms about any of it, it's all noise. It means nothing. But it kind of, the segue in that though is that with even with the Teofimo Lopez, and the whole notion that fighters don't need anybody nowadays. They don't need a promoter. They don't need that they can do this all solo. That's not true. That's just not true. And it's not even true from to limit, or to try to limit a fighter per se, and take away from their independence and whatnot and whatever. But as a young fighter, it's a science to building a fighter, to helping a fighter become a draw. It's things that need to be taken care of. When you're just getting started out, there's money that has to be sunk into that fighter. There's grooming. There's not so much media training and whatnot, but somebody has to take that loss and that risk to help the fighter get somewhere. And then even after they start getting somewhere, again, fighters don't want to be bogged down with making fights making the right fights, dealing with the sanctioning bodies, dealing with the networks, dealing with the state athletic commissions. They don't. So that's just, to me, if someone is pushing that out there, that all of these guys can just go do what they want to do, that's part of the problem now, is that there's no centralized entity leading the way in anything. But fighters don't want to be bogged down with that. That's just stupid. It's stupid to even tell people that. Now, the fighter's manager should be involved and should be kind of counterbalancing or helping to steer things straight and so on and so forth. The manager should be doing that. I agree with that. But to say that fighters don't need promoters and all, that's just not true. But getting around to with the criticism, so looking at Teofimo Lopez, this whole notion of constantly the best, constantly fighting the best, again, more foolishness in a way. But to sit here now and expect Teofimo Lopez to go right into a Devin Haney or a Ryan Garcia or a Tank Davis, I get it. But there is the fact that he has that Kambosos Jr. has become his mandatory for his IBF title. So to take the time and explore this fight that was to take place in Australia potentially, that's not bad business. That's not bad business for him, and it's not bad business for Top Rank. And that's kind of, again, when you start listening to who you're listening to on this platform, and everybody's so angry about stuff, but take nothing into consideration from the promoter's point of view or the future, the long-term movement of a fighter. Again, a lot of guys who sit on this side of the camera and the phones and the microphones have zero experience in doing any of that stuff. And they just sit here and complain and bitch and add to the confusion, mislead people, radicalize people, on the hatred of boxing. And it's somewhat baseless, a lot of it. But so anyway, what the segue was to looking at Jamel Herring, like how come there's no outpouring of love or praise, credit for when for Top Rank and what they've done for Jamel Herring. So I'm pretty sure that the fight has been finalized. It might be February 27th for Jamel Herring to face Herring-Frampton and defend his WBO super featherweight title over in the UK. But again, this is with Top Rank trying to do some different things. Maybe the least popular thing with Teofimo Lopez and putting him up against Kambosos Jr. Maybe that's being misunderstood. How could you get mad at Top Rank for what they've done with Jamel Herring? Now, the reason why I had Shakur Stevenson in the title is because there's an article out there that Shakur Stevenson is stepping up now to try to cancel, to try to get the fight canceled between Herring and Frampton. At one point in time, with him coming up from 126 pounds as the title holder there for the WBO, when you go up to the next division, you can request to face the champion and become the mandatory. So that's what he's done. But along the way, he went along with what Top Rank was doing and what they were trying to do with Jamel Herring and Herring-Frampton. But because of COVID, that fight did not take place. Hasn't taken place already because of trying to adjust to COVID. And the whole thing was they were trying to make that fight in front of fans with a live gate to help with the cost of it and to help with paying the fighters, the fighters' compensation and whatnot. So it is real reasoning and real reasons for a lot of these things. But again, how could you get mad at what Top Rank has done for Jamel Herring when, let's be honest, it probably could have never jumped off for him the way that it has at Top Rank had he stayed with the PBC. Again, this is not me knocking the PBC. For whatever reason or another, he was, and you can read between my words and see what I'm saying, but Jamel Herring was just not he was not a priority for the PBC. Or along the way, he became less and less of a priority. And maybe they just didn't have any vision for what to do with him. So he switches over to Top Rank. Subsequently, he gets out of the AB camp up in Cincinnati under Mike Stafford with that circle, and links up with the B&B Boxing Academy with Bo Mack and Terrence Crawford. He's out in Colorado now. He texted me back last night. I was trying to holler at him about all of this, and he's out in Colorado right now preparing for the fight. So that's why the announcement came out. Put two and two together. Okay. But he's went over there, and Top Rank, with their marketing and their promoting, and what they tend to do, they've done really well by him. And to be honest, in steering Jamel Herring towards a fight with Herring-Frampton is a much better situation for Jamel Herring than facing Shakur Stevenson in a title defense here in the States. For all of the boxing fans and the boxing channel owners out there that talk what they talk, you got to understand. You got to understand that that's better. That's better management and promotion of Jamel Herring, and in terms of a win against. It's a winnable fight for Jamel Herring. It's probably more of a winnable fight than him facing Shakur Stevenson at this stage. And then it's more money involved. And then if he does lose the fight to Frampton, I mean, you at least got this name on your on your record. If he's not successful, it's one thing. But if he was to beat Frampton, he has this huge size advantage. Frampton can punch and is like a 2-division champion, I believe. But if he can pull it out, that's a great win. That's a great win for Jamel Herring. Now, obviously, if he was to beat a Shakur Stevenson, that might be an even greater win. But again, it's a constant analysis of risk and reward and probability. And like I said, that's a pretty good look for Herring to go over there and do that. And then on the back end, I guess Shakur Stevenson could still be in his same position as a mandatory to get the fight with Frampton if he was the winner. So it all works out it all comes out in the wash. But I give Shakur Stevenson his credit. He wants to be great now. He waited. He went out and got the victory against Toka Khan Clary. Took care of that. And he's right back on that neck. Like, give me what you owe me. Try to enforce the rules. It's not his fault. It's not his fault that the fight didn't happen between Herring and Frampton already. So it'll be interesting. We know right now that Top Rank is tied up in some mediation with the Wilder situation and Tyson Fury. Here it is now. You got to go through some kind of negotiations or some kind of calls have to be held with the WBO to maintain this fight, and that's why I kind of foresee them, the WBO, siding with what's already in place. The fight is announced. If they didn't have a date out there already, then maybe they could intervene and do something on the behalf of Shakur Stevenson. But with the fight being made, he's probably going to come up short. But shout out to I believe it's Antonio Leonard, I would imagine. I think with Andre Ward stepping aside and getting out of no longer being a part of Shakur Stevenson's management. But shout out to him for being on his job. You get these guys as your manager and promoter, and they're not doing things in your best interest, and not being aggressive, and not being not using the proper, going the proper channels to get things done and get a fighter what he or she is owed. And here's Antonio Leonard making it happen. And he, like I said, even if he doesn't come out with a chance to fight immediately for the title, it's probably reinforced or whatever that he gets the winner in a timely manner. But again, for going back to Jamel Herring, like I said, we spend so much time focusing on a handful of fighters and don't really care so much about these other guys for one reason or another. But like I said, all in all, that's one of the better stories out there, is him going over to Top Rank. Speaking to him previously, it was up to them. It came from them for him to try to move down from I can't remember if he was at super, maybe he was just at lightweight. Maybe he was at lightweight. I thought he might have went up to 140 though, but he was over at he was at 135 after the Shakur fight, and guess in talking through Top Rank, and then also discussing it with Bomac and them, they were like, well, if you can get down to 130, let's get you back, let's get you up in the rankings and restart things for you and try to get you another shot at a world title. From there, he gets the shot at with a couple of wins. He gets the shot at Masayoshi Ito. He gets Ito. And then, they even stepped up some the promotion for him. The fight against Lamont Roach. He comes out there with the military, the service members, and riding a Hummer into the situation. Like, none of that would have happened for Jamel Herring over at the PBC. And again, the PBC has its value on its fighters. This is why we're behind Spence. This is why we're behind Wilder. They do their own analysis and how they want to handle their resources. And sometimes, like I said, with some of these decisions, it's great business for everybody. For the promoter, for the fighter, and for the manager, and for the broadcast partner, whether it be TV or cable, or the streaming app in the zone situation. So that sometimes to just sit here and say that everything is trash, everything is broken, and somebody's always trying to get over on somebody, that's not always the story. If somebody that's providing this quote unquote coverage, that's not always the story. That it's all this other stuff. Sometimes the main thing is really the main thing. We heard after the fight with Okendo, with the injury, with the way that it ended, the way that it was on TV, Jamel Herring took some criticism as quitting. A lot of media and pundits got out there and spoke, less than favorably on the man because of his eye situation. He came out doing that explaining. He's saying he had a previous injury that hadn't healed correctly, that was found underneath the new injury, and that, there was a real threat to his vision long term, and so on and so forth. And, he pondered retiring. And it's like, damn, here goes a guy for months sitting on, this probably the most meaningful fight of his career being made, to now the dude is going to retire without ever getting to cash in, that lottery ticket against Frampton. So, and then you can even see that I wouldn't say it's the BS and the politics, but it's something to take in. Damn, the cat out there hunting. It's something to take into consideration, that we have a world champion, a defending world champion, willing to go overseas to defend his title in the backyard of the challenger. Obviously, that's telling, like, again, constant risk and reward analysis. And, you know, the risk is losing the title, you know, an unfair decision, you know, a crowd that's going to overreact to everything that the native fighter does, so on and so forth. But, you know, the reward is the guarantee, which, you know, when you get on the plane to go over there, that's the guarantee. You know, that's the money that you'll be compensated for all of that. So, again, to just constantly get on here all the time and never point to any of the bright aspects of boxing, or the things that actually make sense, the things that actually have some a decent amount of logic behind them and whatnot, it's just a waste of people's time in a lot of ways. But anyway, man, that's Bite Down Boxing. Don't let them count you out. My name is Wood. Let me jump on off here. Get done with this lunch. No fights this weekend. Gotta figure out some other stuff to do. Can't go to, well, neither here nor there. Hey, like I said, man, check me out, bitedownboxing.com. Consider becoming a subscriber to the channel if you like the way any of the boxing information or sports and entertainment is being presented, or you know, reviewed, analyzed, previewed, recapped, album breakdowns, movies, TV series, such as so on and so forth. Consider becoming a subscriber to the channel. Appreciate any kind of engagement. You know, share a link. Help me with trying to grow the community, so on and so forth. Let me get on out of here. Have a great day. Pay me no mind. Sports and entertainment. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Be safe out there.